All right, I'm talk about Clemson defensive line history. Um, recent history, Clemson has had a lot of good defensive linemen. Shaq Lawson, who's starting to blossom this year in the NFL with the Bills, he's doing pretty good this year. Vic Beasley down in Atlanta. Carlos Watkins, um, he's doing good with the Texans. I think Grady Jarrett is with the Texas. He had a couple good years down in Atlanta. I think he sacked Tom Brady 3 times in the Super Bowl. Um, you just had 3 first rounders go from the defensive line: Dexter Lawrence, Christian Wilkins. Farrell went number 4 overall. Um, who else is out there? Austin Bryant. I don't know how he's doing with Detroit, but I know that he went there. But there's been a lot more before them. The most famous one everybody talks about is William Perry, who went to the Bears. Let's see, what year did he go to the Bears? I think it's '85. I think it was. He was 22nd overall. If you know anything about the Bears or watch the Bears history, Buddy Ryan really didn't like William Perry. William Perry had a great college career. I think he's 4th all time in sacks in Clemson history. Let me make sure I'm telling you all right. Yeah, he's 4th with 27 sacks in Clemson history. I see him run down Virginia's quarterback back in the day. He was blowing people up. He was a beast. But let me go over some other guys that you probably never heard of. Jimmy Stuckley, San Francisco. He won a Super Bowl. He went in the first round, 20th pick. Jeff Bryant, defensive tackle, 1982. He went in the first round. I think he was on a 6th pick overall. Michael said William Perry outshined him because he was so. When Perry came into college, nobody ever seen a 300-pounder. And 300 pounders was rare back then. If you go back and look at that Nebraska Clemson game, the offensive line of Nebraska biggest player was 275. And William Perry was 300 pounds. Today's time, that's common, but back then, no. But then he was just fast with it too. Jeff Bryant, I'll be honest with you, I can't tell you much about the guy outside of the fact that he went in the first round out of number 6 overall with the Seattle Seahawks. Michael D. Perry, he had a better career than his brother did in the pro, but he also had a good college career. I think he finished 3rd in Clemson sacks all time. 4th. Tied with 4th with Cleveland Farrell. Sacks all time. Let's see, who else you got here? You got Chester McLaughlin, 1982. I think he went in the Raiders, 1st pick overall. Not 1st pick overall, but he was one of the. Let's see what Chester went in. I think Chester finished up with he was number 16 pick overall. He made a bunch of Pro Bowls. He made 4 Pro Bowls. One of my favorite, Benson Butler. He went to Pittsburgh. I think he won 2nd in the 2nd round. And that was like 91, 92 era. Those Clemson teams were really, really good at that time. On defense, offense just was terrible. Trevor Pryce, if you know anything about Trevor Pryce, he transferred in from Michigan. He won 2 Super Bowls, 4 Pro Bowls. He was a monster. Even with Denver, somebody don't get a lot of respect throughout history. But if you go compare him to Peter Boulware, Andre Haynesworth, who came out of Florida State, or outside of Warren Sapp and Kennedy, you could say Trevor Pryce's career was better than all of those. Now, notice what I said outside of Cortez Kennedy, Russell Maryland too, and Warren Sapp. I mean, he had more Super Bowls than Warren Sapp, but not many Pro Bowls. But you can make the argument that he was just as good as those guys. I mean, he won't make the Pro Bowl. I mean, the Hall of Fame because maybe he was not as boisterous or that flamboyant personality that some of the Miami players have. And that's just amazing that Trevor Pryce has had 4 Pro Bowls and 2 Super Bowl wins, and nobody ever talks about how great he was. He was a 28th pick for Denver. I mean, yeah, he had Terrell Davis, some of those good history of some of the great Denver teams, but he still was a beast. Let me look at got my note for a second here. Who else did you have? Daquan Bowers, Gaines Adams. Gaines Adams, I don't know what happened with him in the pros. You know, he went to Tampa Bay, rushed in. I think he had a lot of injury problems. Daquan Bowers. I don't know what Daquan Bowers ranked at coming out of high school, but I know it was like top 3 or 4. He was like close to the highest till Dexter Lawrence came along. I think he was Clemson's highest recruited defensive lineman ever to sign with Clemson. Might be highest person ever to sign with Clemson. I really can't remember. But I know he was really high. And I think the reason why he had a lot of failures, I think he had an issue with his heart. And they found out when he went to the pros. So at the combine, there was like a lot of teams stayed away from him. I mean, he had a decent career. He moved around a lot. I can't remember who he finished up with, but he had a pretty good career. I'm sorry, my computer froze here. But I was saying, Clemson doesn't get a lot of respect for their defensive linemen. I mean, I don't want to seem like Clemson. Andre Branch was really good too. He went in the second round, 36. But Shaq Lawson, number one pick of the Bills in 2016. He was a monster. You know, he was a late developer. He played behind Vic Beasley. He had a great year. Kevin Dahl, I don't even know he's still playing for the Titans. But if you remember, he was getting a bunch of sacks during the playoffs that year. They played Alabama. I think he sacked Johnny Football or Mayfield. I think he sacked him a whole bunch of times, man, during the playoffs. So I think that's how he got hot, and everybody started talking about him. Let's see, who else here? Last I talked about Carlos Watkins. He had a very career. I think Grady Jarrett was what was it called? A free agent, and that's how he ended up with Atlanta. He didn't get drafted, but Cleveland Farrell, Kristen Wilkins, Dexter Lawrence. Funny story about Dexter Lawrence. He's from Raleigh, North Carolina, which is an hour away. Sometimes I go to Raleigh to do Uber for my part-time job, and I picked up a group of kids around the time, and they said they told me they played against Dexter Lawrence, and they were at Broughton High School. I think Dexter Lawrence went to, it's called Wakefield or Wake High School, and the guy played the guy riding my car played offensive line. He said, Dexter Lawrence said, "White boy, I'm about to make you famous today." It was funny. What was said. But we got a lot of good defensive linemen coming in. And we got some good ones coming in. Some of them, Xavier Thomas not even hurt. We wait to see what he's gonna do. I know he's gonna be that dominant like some of the other guys were. Clemson play a lot of players. That's why he might not have the stats that he should have. Mason, he looks good. Mason Rudolph, brother Rudolph, look good. Whatever the name is, I can't remember the name. KJ Henry, I'm waiting for him to see him like somebody, Mascu or somebody else I was hearing about coming into the season. So I'm waiting for some of these guys to blow up and take off like they can. But next year, the Clemson defensive line tradition continues. And like I said, go look at Peter Boulware, Andre Haynes, Wadsworth, those unstoppable defensive ends that they had at Florida State. You can make the argument that Clemson had just as good players. And you could, like I said, go look at Trevor Pryce's career and compare it to some other guys. Cortez Kennedy that played at Miami, Russell Maryland, and a few other guys. And his career lines up just as good as theirs do. But, you won't never get that respect. Michael D. Perry, I think he was a 6-time Pro Bowler. I mean, that's just amazing that he was a 6-time Pro Bowler. But, like I said, his brother would always outshine him because he was known as the Fridge. And, everybody loved the Bears at that time. And he played with the Browns, who was decent at that time in the 80s and 90s where Michael D. Perry played. But 89, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Pro Bowls. I mean, that's just amazing that he did that. He was 2-time first team, AFC Defensive Player of the Year. This is Michael D. Perry. ACC Player of the Year in 1987. So, I mean, he had a pretty good career, but he doesn't get that much respect. Same way with Trevor Pryce. I mean, these guys were beasts, but you don't hear much talk about them. We have a great defensive line history, probably better than the receiver history. So, just a little history of Clemson's defensive line history. All right.